Hello everyone, how is everyone doing today? Hope everyone's doing good. Sorry to freak you out, Nikki M. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry to freak you out. Let me... Oh, Cyberquake, you're watching Vera's video. It's excellent. Let me quick pop on... Nope, not that one. Not that one. There we go. There's the one. Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. I'm actually not wearing the beard on this live stream for once. Isn't that kind of crazy? Hello, how's everyone doing? Hello, Ulysses the Pagan, Andreas, Jen, Miss Wicked Wolf, Diet Dr. Bepsis. Beepsis? Beepus. Diet Dr. Beepus. Something like that. Brad Crest, good to see you. Yes, Turfbane will be returning. I'm hoping to stream this weekend. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute because my schedule this weekend's a little bit weird because I have some filming stuff going on. So possibly this weekend, hopefully at the very worst next weekend. Actually, I might be at ECC then. Never mind. I'll figure it out. Turfbane will be coming back. I apologize that I haven't been doing the video game streams in a while. It's just hard with my schedule at the moment these past few weeks. And also dealing with stuff. Oh, did Newt come in? Hello, Newt. Hello, buddy. You want to come up and say hi? Come and say hi to everybody. How's everyone doing while Newt takes his time to get up here? Yes, you gonna come? Come on. Come and say hi. I have a blanket on right now, so maybe sometimes he doesn't jump up on the blanket because I have my AC on because it's hot as hell out, but it also makes this room really cold when I have the AC. Come on. Come and say hi. Come on, buddy. Jump up, my cat, onto my lap, or you can sniff over there. Come on, and when I sing to you, there we go. Hello. Say hello to everybody. I mean, downside Alex Jones is an asshole? I mean, Alex Jones is an asshole. Is that surprising to anybody? At least no, it shouldn't be surprising to anyone here, and I'm pretty sure it's not surprising to any of his followers. Even people who liked Alex Jones and were following were kind of like, yeah, he's kind of an asshole. That's like kind of his brand. So I mean, he's a bigger asshole than they would like to admit. He's an absolute horrid person. But yeah, he's an asshole. Oh, Sam JB, heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Looking good, Jessie. Are you planning to review the Sandman? Thank you. Like I said, I'm still healing up from the surgery. I'm looking a little bit less lumpy than I did in my face reveal video. And like I said, I know I look cute as a button in that video, but it was a little bit lumpy, and I was still healing from stuff. And I'm still healing. It's only been a little over 2 months. Actually, on the dot 2 months. Actually, 2 months and a couple days. Anyways, it's been a little over 2 months. It takes 6 months to heal, so the fact that I'm looking so fine after 2 months, I'm very pleased with it. So yeah, it's still a little bit like saggy and stuff. You know, that's just what happens. But my hope is like my skin will like stretch a little bit, so it's like this. But even this, like this looks good. I'm very pleased with the results. But otherwise, yes. And then also, what was it? You asked about Sandman. Yes, I actually, I'll say this right now. Hopefully we're still getting it together, but number one, I am going to be reviewing Sandman, the show. I'll just say right here, I really loved it. It's not perfect. I have issues with it here and there, and I'll talk about that in my review of it. But overall, I really loved it, and episodes 5 and 6 are amazing. I think they really nailed my 2 favorite issues of the comic book. It's actually technically 3 favorite issues of the comic book because 6 is 2 issues. And I think they just did it superbly. Not perfectly, but pretty damn well for what I was expecting on Netflix. I was really, really worried that Sandman on Netflix was going to look more like Lock and Key, which Lock and Key is my second favorite comic book of all time behind Sandman. And I love Lock and Key. And the Lock and Key show, which had its final season actually yesterday come out. Lock and Key, the show, isn't bad, but it's very CW-y. It could have been on the CW, kind of like Sabrina, the Netflix show that they did as well. And they aren't bad. They just don't fit the tone of the comics as well as I would have liked. And Netflix Sandman still has that like Netflix vibe that I don't really love as much. That kind of too crisp and clean look that a lot of like Netflix shows have that I don't overly love. like slightly too digital, if that makes sense. I think it's just the camera equipment that they use. But I do think that they got the tone of it much, much closer, and I really appreciated that. So I really, really liked the Sandman. So I will be reviewing it, and also I will say there is a project in the works that I'm currently working on that The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Thank you, Donald. There is a project that I'm working on with several people and several of my friends here in Seattle that will be a longer form project about Sandman. I'll say that for now just because I'll probably be announcing what the project is in the very near future. I think we're recording stuff next week, but I don't want to say just yet until it's definitively coming out. But I will be doing a project on that. So if you want my Jessie Sandman thoughts, you'll be getting my Sandman thoughts. I'm excited about it. It's my favorite comic book. So, anyways, before I get to some of the super chats, because I see a bunch of super chats, and thank you for all of that. Yes, Newt. Hi, bud. Newt's always on my lap, and he's always just out of camera range. I'm moving in the near future, as I talked about in a video. I'm hoping the new place that I get to, I'm probably going to stay in the area. Going to just get a different place, because this place is really loud and noisy, and I just want a slightly better setup. And so hopefully I'll be able to get a spot where I can get the camera better split face so you can actually see Newt while I talk. Anyways, welcome to my chat stream. This is my chat stream where generally every week, I've been a little bit hit or miss on it lately just because of my schedule, but every week I spend about an hour talking with all of you about whatever you want to talk about. Super chats are appreciated. They do help pay my bills, so if you give a super chat, I try and answer those questions and give you a heart first, but I do try to pay attention to the entirety of the chat as best I can. I'm a single person, so if I do miss your stuff, I apologize. Just let me know. You're welcome to tag me and stuff in case you think I missed it or things like that, but I try my best to pay attention to the chat. So just, we talk about whatever you want to talk about, whatever things you want me to rant about, I will happily talk about and give you my thoughts on. And I'll just say right up front, I'm going to forewarn, tomorrow I have a video going up about a truly horrific person named Matt Walsh. Many of you know who he is, and if you don't, watch the video, it'll describe it. And I anticipate that video will get, at the very least, the notice of a lot of trolls, quite possibly the notice of Matt Walsh himself. And if that is the case, for my own self-protection and my own mental health, I probably will not do a stream on Saturday, Sunday if that happens. If not, then I'll probably still aim to do a stream on Saturday and Sunday. But I just want to let you all know ahead of time, just for my own mental health safety, I'm going to need to protect myself in that way. But that's we'll see how that ends up going. But that being said, that video, I am very proud of. It is part 1 of 2. Second part's going to come out in September, so there's going to be videos between then and now, but I'm working on part 2, which is why I'm a little bit tired today. And I have to tell you, part 1 is good. Part 2, I have some fun stuff planned for. I'm trying to use the fact that I have to talk about something really shitty to make it so I can at least express something fun or do something fun with it. So yeah, we'll talk about that. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy the video. I hope it's helpful, which is actually the bigger thing. It's like I said, I'm going to try and make it fun and entertaining as best I can about a horrible topic. But at the end of the day, what I really hope is it is educational, helpful, and something that you can give to people who are like, I think he was just asking questions. It was a very good documentary. It wasn't transphobic at all. Those people and be like, here's the video. Here's a video that explains why it was a harmful video. And like I said, it's part 1 of 2. Part 1 is going to be mainly looking at how he discusses stuff in the film. It's just his aesthetic. And then video 2 will actually be breaking down the arguments bit by bit. Every argument he goes through, I break down. But part 1 is just the aesthetic of it. Yes, exactly, Cyberquaker. Exactly, Cyberquaker. All right, I'm already behind because I see all of you talking about stuff. So let me just get to super chats really quickly, and then I'll try and catch up on. Let me actually pull up. I'm gonna catch up on the super chats really quickly, but let me pull up the other stream so I can see the live stream and the super chats at the same time. Cool. So I should be able to keep up on both. Okay. First super chat that I see is Amelia Turi. Hard to you, my friend. Mwah. You said, watch the pilot for Lower Decks and I'm obsessed. Thanks for putting me on it. Yes, hell yes. Star Trek Lower Decks Season 3 begins soon. I'm going to let you all know, just being honest with all of you, they've already sent me streamers for a decent chunk of Season 3 of Lower Decks. So I've seen Good part of Lower Deck Season 3, and I have to tell you, hi, Newt. It's really good. That's all I can say. I am very, very pleased with this season. I knew they wouldn't disappoint, but they didn't disappoint. And y'all should be very excited. There's 2 episodes in particular. There are some surprises for all of you. Like, there's some cameos, and like, it's exciting. There are 2 episodes in particular that I'm like, oh, I cannot wait for these to hit the mainstream, like, people see it, because y'all are gonna love it. And that's all I'll say. Newt Bud, I love you. I love you, but mommy has to be on stream. There you go. Go there. Yes. Okay. Stay there. Okay. But yeah, I am very excited about it. Carlisle the Cinephile, I could definitely use some kindness right now. Tell my dad that he's been, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm feeling really weird right now. Yeah, Carlisle, I've had my dad also get diagnosed with cancer. Thankfully, he was able to get through it, and he's in remission right now, and it's all good. Yes, Newt, are you going to rub up against... Well, I'm trying to talk about something very serious. I love you, bud. But yeah, it sucks, and I know it's scary, especially throat cancer, which is something deeply scary. So, Carlisle, heart to you and sending you and your dad love. I know it sucks, and it's scary. I have a close friend of mine, probably my closest friend, whose father is also going through... nearly almost died recently because of cancer and stuff that came out of that and chemotherapy, and it's scary. Thankfully he didn't, and he's doing okay now, so that's good. But it is a scary time. So my love to you, Carlisle. So, and Newt sends his love too, even though he's being a little bit of a butt right now. Yeah, you being like let's see, he's right here. He's just staring out the window. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Who's a good kitty? Yeah. You're a good kitty. You're an annoying kitty, but you're a good kitty, yeah. Who likes the scratches? Yes, you do. Okay. Let's see. Jasper Jedi, heart to you. Hi, Jessie. Relatively new to your channel. Love your content and your heart. Keep it up. Oh, well, thank you so much. I'll give you an extra heart for that. Thank you, Jasper Jedi. I'm glad Carlisle is fine. I'm not mad at Newt. I'm just more like, but he's behind the computer screen now, and I'm like, there are wires back there. And I kind of don't want my computer screen to fall on top of me. So I'm not mad. I'm more just, like, concerned for my stuff, less for him. That's just living with a cat, though. We all know the pain, right, bud? Hi. Hello again. Yes? Uh-huh. You gonna come back on my lap? Is that where we're going now? Okay. Good choices. Good choices. Okay. He's back on my lap now. Punk rock zoologist, heart to you. Jesse, you look great. Hope everything is great for you. I'm getting to design some experience and work again, so I'm on high right now. That's awesome! Kick butt. Do science! Kick butt with science, punk rock zoologist. It's so good to see you, my friend. Mwah. Also, you sent me something in the mail. I forgot because I've been running around, but I know you sent me something in the mail the other day, and I really appreciated it, but for some reason it's escaped my brain what it was, and I apologize, because I know I have it. Remind me, but I totally forgot, and I am sorry. I've just been running around these past few days, so... Apologies on that front. Let's see, catching up. Detective Salary Cuts, heart to you, my friend. You said, yo, Jesse, I respect you for everything you do for the community, trying to educate others about the LGBTQA plus community. Keep it up. See, even I get tongue twisted about it. So many letters. Also, they say, what is a woman, but never how is a woman. That is true. That is true. Yeah, we'll talk about it with the video, but yeah, there's many things with that film. So many things. Costume Codex, heart to you. And thank you, by the way, for your nice words, Detective. Costume Codex, you said, signing up for the war on leaf blowers. Yes, I despise leaf blowers. I understand the need for them to a degree. They do make a lot of work helpful, so I'm not yelling at anybody who has to use a leaf blower for work for numerous reasons. I despise them because there are people that use leaf blowers all the time near where I live. It's part of why I want to move, because I'm literally inundated with leaf blowers and they give me such a headache. Like I'm prone to headaches just generally, and every time one starts up, it just gives me a headache. And then on top of that, add the fact that a lot of time I'm filming stuff, and I'm like, well, guess I'm not gonna film for the next like 20 minutes when I intended to. So yeah, it's pain in the butt. Oh no, I hate it when the thing jumps ahead and I miss where the super chats are. All right, here we go. Bard Crest, heart to you. You said, the first part of my name is Bard, like the D&D class. Is Newt ready for the spooky season? Oh my god, Newt. Buddy, speak of the devil. He's always ready for the spooky. He's always ready for everything. Newt is ready for everything. That's why he's a cat. because he does the same thing. That's all he does. He just sits and is spooky. He's a spooky black cat. He doesn't need to do anything for Halloween. That's just what he is. He just is spooky, just generally. So that's him. Hi, Logan Mansion Gaming. Good to see you. Oh, Sir Kitka, apologies if I say your name wrong. I like this question. You said, hi, I don't think you've ever talked about this topic on your channel, but it does make me wonder, what sexuality are you? You're straight. I think I've talked about it probably in older videos. I just haven't, it's been mainly talking about trans stuff, because that's been like the thing to talk about mostly lately in terms of my own thoughts and just things going on in the world right now. But my sexuality is, I use the word bisexual, so this might get a little complicated. I use the word bisexual. Because that is the word that I first encountered that felt like it fully fit me. Now, I do know that some people, and I know bisexual, the technical definition, does include everybody. And the way I sort of define it is bisexual. The way I sort of look at it, some people say like, oh, biphobic means you're not attracted to non-binary people, which is generally not how that is technically used, but some people see it that way. But for me, I technically find that I am bisexual and I am attracted to different people of different genders for different reasons. Whereas, again, this is, you can all define for yourself, so I'm not telling people if they're wrong if they have a different definition of this or anything. That's just how I look at it for my own self. Pansexual I sort of see as like you're attracted to everybody regardless of gender. You have other things that you're attracted to, whereas bisexual gender plays a little bit more of a part in your attraction. That's how I separate it. But that's sort of my thinking on it. And I am bisexual, but I have found more and more, it's kind of a complicated thing. Oh, buddy, I love you. I love you, but you're being a butt. You're just gonna go all over the table now, aren't you? Okay. But I tend to find that I've been more physically attracted to male presenting or mask presenting people generally, but I'm more emotionally attracted towards non-binary folks and trans folks and women. Like, emotionally I'm more attracted to women, trans folks, non-binary folks, but I'm probably more physically attracted to men. Now that doesn't mean that there can't be any mix and match of that, but that's just like a general rule I found. But that's just me. So yeah. Hi, Newt. I love you, bud. So that's sort of my thought process on it. But again, everyone has different definitions for these things. That's just sort of how I think about it. Hi, just another broke nerd. I know I should be able to record. I do have other things that help with that. Just another broke nerd, but it's still, it's less even about like the noise on my mic. It's more about my own brain. I can't think. I can't think as well when there's like all that noise going on, because again, welcome to my neurodiverse brain. I get distracted. I will hyper focus on something, but if there's multiple things going on, I can't focus. I'm like, ah, God! I'm like jumping all over the place. But when I'm focused, and to the exclusion of everything else. It's just hard when there's a leaf blower, because it's just the noisiness of it. Again, welcome to the neurodiverse brain of Jessie. Being on the spectrum is fun. Making sure there's no other super chats. I think I'm all caught up. Carlisle Cinephile, heart to you. I'm glad his appearance helped you. And I think just Abracadaverous, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat, my friend. Mwah. Giving you a heart. Okay. And, Riv Wilson, heart to you. Thank you for saying Jesse and give me a heart. Mwah. You are lovely. Thank you for your super chat, my friend. Okay. So, let me catch up. Kathleen and Beth, heart to you. Newt! I swear to you, I know you all appreciate it. It's bugging me. He is never this running aroundy. He's just running around everywhere. You just want to be in front of me is what you want to be. Yeah? Come here and sit on my lap, bud. Come here. So I can talk. I gotta respond to Kathleen Lembeth's super chat. Yes, hi. Can we relax? We're gonna sit in one place for a little bit? Is that gonna happen? Yeah? Okay. Yes. Good boy. Please readjust so I can actually sit. There we go. Oh my gosh. Newt is all over the place today. Thank you very much. Oh, that's wonderful, Kathleen Beth. I hope you have a fun time with your friend. Mwah. Sending you love. He is a star. He is a star, Fox Elliott. Uh, Captain Zero, heart to you. Oh, that's a good name. I like that one. You said, hello there. Newt's just doing his cat job. Yeah, I already knew that. It is Newt's stream at this point. Steven, be cat Duke Chimes. I love that. That's a good, I love that phrase. I want to get that. I need to get that like on a pillow or something. I love that. He does love me. And sending you love NCC 1701 and Chris. Someone else said, have you thought of playing Stray? I actually beat Stray. I really loved it. I thought it was really great. I actually played it I played the first like 2 or 3 hours of it on stream a week or two ago, somewhere along those lines. Right when the week it came out, and then I finished it. I thought it was really, really good. I loved it. It's a perfect cat simulator, but I actually really liked the cyberpunk story on top of it. It also had like gross body horror stuff in there too. Like some of the body horror that they have in that is real cool. I thought it was really cool to look at, and I thought they had some clever stuff in there. But I also just like some of the questions about like society and humanity and what it like what identity means, and like how we build up ourselves, how societies build themselves up off the past of sort of the past of the other ones. So like these palimpsest civilizations. It kind of was a similar idea that Forgotten City kind of dove into. But that one had a little bit more like talking about like effects of colonialization and empire and things like that as well on top of that. So I like Forgotten City more than I like Stray. But Stray, I think overall, is just a really good game on top of being just a fun cat simulator. Not the deepest game in the world, but I still think there's some really good stuff in there. I thought it was really, really great. So Stray was wonderful. Just catch it. I finally met my queen. Yeah, Newt is, well, Newt technically is a boy, but I've never really asked him what his gender is, right, bud? Do I identify as a queen? Yeah, you can be a dude and identify as a queen. I approve of that. Yeah. Yeah, we like the scritches here. Yeah, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Alright. Yes, don't worry, Lewis Darden. I will get more, Ocarina. The Costume Codex. You're saying, how are you enjoying For All Mankind this season? I'm actually going to be reviewing that next week, too. It'll be on my other channel as well. Next week, I'm going to be reviewing, what did I have on my notepad? I have For All Mankind, I'm going to be reviewing Sandman, and actually, I Am Groot as well, so I'll be reviewing all that. But, to give the short version, I have complicated feelings about For All Mankind this season. I'm trying to think of, like, the short version. I won't spoil too much for everybody, so if you have not seen For All Mankind, I won't spoil too much for you. But the space, everything to do with the space stuff and the way the space program is built up in this season, I think is excellent. Some of the tensest space action I have ever seen. I think they have some really clever uses of space stuff. And a lot of the interpersonal relationships between a lot of the characters I also think work really well for me. I really loved that. I have more complicated feelings around how it handles politics within the world of the show, because there is a character that we've been following for several seasons who we like. I mean, I like her. I think she's a likable character. Yet she also ends up, spoilers a little bit. This is a minor spoiler. It's like right at the beginning of the season, and you can kind of tell it's where it's going from season 2 onwards. Her storyline. But she becomes president of the United States, and a Republican president to boot. She actually gets elected instead of Bill Clinton because the show is an alternate history storyline. And the show shies away a lot from depicting what that would mean for her to be a Republican president at the time. It's kind of much more shallow, like, look, a woman got elected president. Yay! And all the stuff that kind of falls out from that. And it makes me uncomfortable, because there's even, like, literally a scene where she, like, looks at Nixon, like, as, like, kind of an inspiring figure at one point. And the show is clear, and I know the creators of the show, I listen to interviews with them, are not Republicans. They are very liberal. And I use liberal in this, like, neoliberalist terms, as someone who's a leftist. So, and, like, they're very status, like, very, like, affirming the institution of the United States, when I have very much a problem with a lot of the institution of the United States. And, goodbye, Newt, bud. So I just have complicated feelings on it, because the show doesn't, like, necessarily be like, yeah, Republicans great, or, like, yeah, this stuff is wonderful. It's not saying that, and yet there's no real criticism of it. It's just sort of background flavor, and I'm uncomfortable with that being background flavor of the show, especially given the storyline, again, without spoiling too much, especially given the storyline they take that character on. There's a specific journey that character goes on that I think by having her be a expressly Republican president and not necessarily addressing what that would mean and like what her policies would be and things like that. And not that I needed the show to like suddenly become about like this like United States president show like The West Wing. But it just kind of, I just wish they'd give us a little bit more context for it, because the show doesn't seem to be critical of it, and as a result, it makes me uncomfortable when they take the show in a certain direction with that character. On top of that, they have a character who is also a very Elon Musk-esque character, and he is also portrayed fairly positively. Not perfect, like he has flaws, but they're much more individualistic flaws, like personal flaws as him as a character, and he's still shown to be like a decent dude generally, who has some flaws that make him like a bad role for like being a CEO. And it doesn't necessarily critique like, for lack of a better word, number one, the like institutional problems with just CEOs generally. Like, because I believe like Elon Musk is a crappy person, and we all kind of, I hope most of you out there know this. You're not all Elon Musk stans in my chat, but I also believe that like part of the problem of, and this is a problem just in politics in general and like people with Trump as well and things like that, is like they are crappy people. But the system incentivizes those crappy people. So it's not like this one person is a bad person if we got like good CEOs in place or good billionaires or good like people like Trump in those positions, like good head of like business moguls, that it would be better. The system rewards those kind of people getting into those positions, so you're always going to have those kind of people getting into those positions. And there's no really addressing of that. It's kind of like again, it's the same thing we talk about with policing, right? Where it's like, it's not just the policing. It's why we say ACAB. It's like, it's not the fact that there are a few bad apples. It is the police institution that is the problem. And that's not to say every police officer is inherently like evil, terrible person. A lot of them can be, and a lot of them abuse power. But like, it's literally the institution of policing that is the problem, and they will always promote the kind of people that do horrible things in those positions because that's what it's there for. Yeah. So that's the kind of problem that I have with like CEOs and people like Elon Musk, and the show is uncritical of that. So on that front, I am very uncomfortable with For All Mankind. But also on top of it, there's a lot of good stuff in that show too, like the science fiction action, the science of it all, the inspiringness of it all. It does have this inspiring, like things can get better feel to it that I really vibe with as a Star Trek fan. But it's the problem that I have, and I'm sorry I'm ranting about this. It's getting me thinking about this idea. It's the problem that I have with a show like The West Wing versus like doing a politics Star Trek based show. Because I would love to do a politics-based Star Trek show a lot. Because when I literally can't watch The West Wing. I started and I just really can't. Because it has just, again, this liberalist mindset of being like these faith in these American institutions. Apologies if I'm ranting here. So let me know if you want me to talk about other stuff, because I'm talking about stuff in the chat. But I can't watch The West Wing because it just has these faith in these institutions and upholds a lot of this sort of like, yeah, America, if the system works, it's working, and it's working for the people. It's just these bad apples that come in, these Republicans or like people who want to like, there's like these hawkish kind of people that go in there are homophobes who go in there and ruin it. When I'm like, there are things baked into this country that inherently cause harm. This country is built up on racist systemic issues, as well as, nationalistic and colonialist problems as well in other countries, which is a lot of what the West Wing kind of had a blind spot for, was upholding sort of imperialistic and colonialistic attitudes of the time. So that's why I can't watch The West Wing. And Star Trek, and that's why I have a problem with For All Mankind, because it doesn't have that like critical look at like the institutions of America. It's kind of turning a blind eye towards it, less so than The West Wing, which is all about that. Whereas For All Mankind kind of like, we're just not going to talk about it in kind of way. Whereas Star Trek, I think you would still need to, if you're going to do a politics-based Star Trek show, you would still need to deal with the inherent problem of how Star Trek and the Federation within that world is like very clearly based on America. and American institutions. Like, it's very similarly set up, and even though it's been kind of nebulous, it has very similar allusions to that. Yeah, I think because it is a fictional context, you can show the system actually working better while also being critical of it in a way that, again, this sort of metaphorical thing that, like, Gene Roddenberry was always talking about, like, talking about these issues in a way that allows people to get in without it being like, you're saying America bad? But even that gets kind of wrapped up because people still like, Starfleet can't do anything wrong. The very, like, Gene Roddenberry's vision people. And anti-SJW folks like, you can't change Star Trek can't ever be dark or show anything bad about the Federation, despite the fact that, like, Next Generation is riddled with terrible, like, admirals and things like that and politicians. So it would be a very careful balance if you did, like, a West Wing Star Trek show. But I do think it would be an interesting project to take on. It would be something I would love to do. But it would also be something that I would have to be wary of as, like, a creator writing something like that, to be like, be careful of not ending up, like, being, like, pro-colonialist attitudes and things like that. So it'd be an interesting balance. It'd be an interesting project that I think would be kind of cool to tackle if I ever get a chance to make my own Star Trek show and do something like that, or if someone else ever does. It'd be interesting to see what they would do with it. So yeah, that's my rant on For All Mankind. It kind of became about Star Trek, as everything does. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. So yeah. Yeah, exactly, the costume codex. Like, For All Mankind, and by the way, this goes for as everything here is, like, I have issues with For All Mankind, but, like, that's why I like talking about art, unless I find the art, like, overtly offensive. Like, it's actively, like, a fascist work of art, you know, or something like that. It's, like, pro-Hitler or pro-Nazis or whatever. It's, like, saying something like that. I generally just find talking about art interesting for the things I like and dislike about it. So, like, I'm not saying For All Mankind terrible. I find this aspect of it interesting, even if I disagree with it or have problems with it. I find it interesting to discuss, and what viewpoints it sort of portrays about the writers and what the show and what the piece of art is trying to discuss and view the world through. So I just find that interesting. All roads do lead to Star Trek, Elrin. All roads do lead to Star Trek. All right, let's see. Kay, by the way, Heart 2, sorry I missed your super chat. You asked, how do you feel about propaganda shows? I mean, like, number one, I mean, like, the prevalence and the amount of propaganda shows is absolutely awful. As I already sort of said, like, police as an institution is bad. That's why we say ACAB, right? And a lot of our attitudes towards policing and seeing police as good, not like all of them, but a decent chunk of it is through a lens of pop culture, right? Because especially, you know, upper to upper middle class white folks, a lot of their interactions with the police will either be positive because they're just sort of in their neighborhoods and like, oh, they're our neighbors and they're good, kind people. You know, I lived, like, when growing up, one of my neighbors, whose kid who I used to hang out with a lot, who was my age, his dad was a cop. And I never really talked about it or knew really what he did as a cop, but he was like my next door neighbor, right? And there was always positive associations and interactions with the police. But then the other way we get a lot of, you know, upper class and upper middle class white folks, suburban folks, encounter the police will be through pop culture and the predominance of propaganda shows, which then paint like cops living in the city or things like that, and it can sort of like saying, yeah, cops are doing the right thing, you know, cracking down on crime in, you know, low income neighborhoods, which tend to, like, as depicted in the show, tend to be black neighborhoods or areas where queer folks are inhabiting, and sort of portrays those people as bad or more likely to do crime and things like that. So it upholds this police institution as this righteous institution. And so I think that the ubiquitousness of that in propaganda with shows like Law & Order and NYPD Blue and things like that is a problem. But I also, I wish it's difficult to, and I don't watch many of those shows nowadays. But I also, like, I understand there is something about, like, crime genre stuff that is inherently, like, intriguing as a storytelling method. Like, who doesn't love a good mystery? And a lot of our mystery today in terms of storytelling comes through propaganda stuff. And so something like just a good mystery story that you used to get with, like, things like Sherlock Holmes, even though Sherlock Holmes also did work with the police. But like that, but now you get it through like propaganda stuff. I understand that feeling. It just has to come with a critical view of like what this means for like looking at what cops do. But I mean, even shows that I really love, like Fringe, for example. Fringe Sorry, I'm ranting for a whole bit. I see your Harper Melon. I'll talk about you in just a second. I'll talk to you about your super chat, but thank you so much. I just want to make sure I acknowledge it. I love Fringe. Fringe is great. It's also a propaganda show. It is there. You know, she's an FBI. Olivia. I forget the main character's last name. Anna Torv's character. She's an FBI agent. Lance Reddick, and that is an FBI agent. So yeah, I think that's just a problem with a lot of our media today. And I think, like, I don't love propaganda shows. I understand the appeal of some of them. Not like the ones that are like, let's the people who watch like 50 Law and Order shows. Dear God. But I understand the appeal in the sense of like a good mystery, but it does sort of like bake into our brains a lot of these ideas of the police being a positive institution overall, and that one that needs a lot of reform, if just completely abolishing it. The very least, policing needs a lot of reform, but ultimately police are going to be agents of state power. And as someone who doesn't believe in the consolidation of power, generally I think it's always going to be inherently problematic as an institution. But there are ways that we could do it better if they have to exist. So, not every country is 100% armed hide. I'm just talking more. I'm definitely talking from a U.S. point of view, right? I'm talking from I'm in the United States, and that's where I know most of the stuff. I'm not speaking for the UK or anywhere else. I'm only speaking for the United States. I know a lot of you probably listening to this aren't from the United States, but it's the thing that I can talk about. I'm not going to presume to talk about like what police are like in Japan, for example, because I'd have no idea, really. I'd have to do research to know more about that. So I am talking about the United States. And I would assume that generally a lot of the stuff could be applied to a lot of Western countries like the UK or Canada, though certainly the United States is militarized and utilized its police force as an institution of state power much more than a lot of other countries. But I would say that probably to a slightly lesser degree, you can apply a lot of things that I just said to a lot of like Western-style nations as well. Anyways, thank you for allowing me that rant. Let's see. Heart to you, Harper Melon. You said, "Hi, Jessie. Thank you for your amazing content. It's been really helpful getting me through." Oh, Harper Melon, I'm so glad. I'm really glad. I hope your transition is going well, and I am very, very glad that I have been able to help you. It's interesting because I'm still, it's interesting because I'm still feeling, I'm talking about transition stuff. I still feel like my surgery was the last piece of my transition that I really ever wanted to do, and yet I still kind of feel like I haven't gotten the, I'm done yet piece of it completely yet. Like, there's no real work to do, but I'm not like at the end of it because I'm still healing from the surgery. Still got my like scar up here, as you can kind of still see. It's still somewhat prevalent, and I'm still puffy from the surgery and stuff. So I haven't gotten the like I'm done yet. And in many ways, like I kind of said in my video that I did my face reveal on, like, we're always going to be transitioning in some way, shape, or form, whether it be through gender or just changing throughout our life. But yeah, it's an interesting sort of feeling that I'm having, and I'm glad that I've been able to, as my journey has gone on, I've been able to help other people. So thank you so much. So I send you love. The Molly J, heart to you. You said, "I have huge mixed feelings about propaganda. I have had horrible experiences with the cops, but I write superhero books, which are basically cop stories." Yeah, superheroes, especially certain superheroes, but pretty much all of them are kind of like super cops to a degree, or at the very least, they work with cops. The problem, if you want to talk about one of my biggest disappointments of the year, we'll talk about the Batman. Again, I think when I say disappointment, I mean aspects of it. I actually like the Batman as a movie, generally, Matt Reeves' recent film. But I was really excited because the movie seemed to be like, yeah, the police are a corrupt institution. And I was like, oh, the movie's actually going there, and it's deconstructing Batman, and it's deconstructing his working with the police, and it's deconstructing the police force. And I was like, that's really interesting. I like this. This is really cool. And then the end of the film, there's like an not all cops moment. Like a hashtag not all cops moment. It's like, yeah, Gordon and a bunch of the other good cops are actually good, and it's just like if these people could be in charge, the police could be good. And I was like, no, oh, you were so close. You were so close. And it was just like it had to be like the not all cops, and I was like, oh no, so close, so close. So yeah, that was a big disappointment. Generally, I do like the movie. But yeah, it's a very like So yeah, I feel you. Carefree Puggle, heart to you say, Jesse, consider checking out the channel Polarista, Empire Files with Abby Martin and the Black Agenda Report. Okay, I'll check them out. Yeah, I mean, I like good news sources. And the news sources that I find on, I'll subscribe to them. Oh, thank you. These are like worldwide ones. Okay, sorry, I'm just going to subscribe to them and I'll check them out as I go. Oh, these are great. I'll check them out. I won't fully endorse them right now on camera because I don't know them. But I will check them out because they look like something, just at first glance, they seem like something I would really like. So yeah, I'll check them out. Thank you for the suggestion. I just subscribed to all of them and I'll give them all a watch. Like I said, I'm not going to endorse if anyone thinks like, oh, I'm endorsing them. I'm not going to endorse them yet because I don't know them. But I am curious. That's great. Hard to you, Dorian R. Interesting to watch British original Life on Mars and US remake. British more critical of cops, US version more glorifying cops like 70s cop shows. Yeah, I could see that. I never watched either Life is Mars shows. I know how they end. And I had a friend in college who loved both versions of it, as well as, what is it, Ashes to Ashes was the sequel series to the UK one. But I never watched it, so I can't speak to it. I just know how the twist at the end of both of them. I remember the US one's ending. I think I remember the UK one's one too, but I'm not entirely sure. I don't want to spoil on stream, but I'm not entirely sure if I remember the UK's one's ending. But I definitely know what the US one's ending is. Anywho, Super Desi, heart to you. You said your FHS looks so wonderful, Jesse. I can see the person I recognize is still you, of course, but in a way similar to meeting someone's twin sibling. I'm thrilled at how happy you are. Remember to order Taco Bell soon. I don't order Taco Bell on Thursdays, but thank you, Super Desi. And yeah, thank you. No, it's interesting. Right, it is an interesting thing that, like, I got a lot of comments about this on my last video, and it's similar to my feelings, that it's like, after the surgery, how to describe it? You can still know it's me. It's not like I'm so radically different looking that you're like, oh, that's not Jesse. Like, people still recognize me as me. Like, I went to a wedding this past weekend, and, like, there were a bunch of people there that hadn't seen me post-surgery yet. And they all recognized me, even though they were like, oh, you look different. So it wasn't like I'm so radically different, but it's like, oh, a slightly different change. You look slightly different. It's interesting, right? And that's only going to get more weird, too, because like I said, I'm still healing up. Things will start tightening up and things like that. So there's still some time ahead. But yeah, I think the only thing that, like, bugs me at the moment about the transition, just to, like, talk about it a little bit, is my mouth is still, it's not numb, but it's like, if you ever go to the dentist and they, like, inject you with the Novocaine, and when you first get it, you can't feel your mouth and it's kind of tingly. But then after about, like, an hour or so, you can still feel it's numb, but you can start feeling stuff. It's kind of like that, except for all day, every day, and it's on, like, the front of my gums, because that's where they did the surgery stuff, because they went into the mouth. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't feel bad. It's just weird. And I noticed it because I was on a flight to go to that wedding that I mentioned earlier. And so I was on the plane, and I chew gum while we land so that my ears will pop, because otherwise my ears get all freaky whenever I'm on a plane. So I chew gum, and it was the first time I had chewed gum since the surgery. And it was like, oh, this is weird. This just feels weird with the slightly numb gums. Like, it was a weird feeling. And again, not bad, just strange. And I noticed, like, it slightly affected my speaking pattern. Just like when I record videos and stuff, I know I'll, like, slur my words a little bit more, and I'm already have a tendency to slur my words because I speak so fast. Because I am a fast talker. But I'm more likely to do it now just because my mouth shape feels different. It's not like my mouth is necessarily all that different. It's just, like, the feeling of it is different. And so, it's weird. But I know that, like, I've talked to friends who have all gotten this surgery, and it gets different. It gets better over time. So I'm sure I'll get most, if not all, of my feeling back, and over the course of the next 4 months to whatever, 10 months. I'll get it all back, or most of it back. And it's not bad. It's just weird and something I'm getting used to. So it's just one of those. Anyways, catching up on the stream. Sorry I missed so much. Today's a rant. I know I have a lot of rant streams. Today's an especially rant streams. Transgender District San Francisco. Oh, hello, Allie Oxenfree. That's good. Welcome. You already sound better. This is normally you'll keep up. Aw, thank you, Fox Elliott. Mwah. Spencer, while on the subject, just wanted to let you know your videos honestly gave me the courage to call my gender a doctor. Been waiting years to leave my parents and find the courage. Oh, well, Spencer, I'm glad. I hope everything's going safe. I know, like, making those decisions can be scary and hard and difficult, but I am glad, and I hope I hope you're doing well. I hope you're taking care of yourself, and I hope it's leading you on a path to happiness. And if your parents are the ones that have been trying to push you away from that, and to your mental health detriment, I'm sorry that that's happened, because I know that sucks and is difficult. So sending you love and heart, and I'm glad that you're doing well. And I'm glad to have been any part of that. So sending you love, my friend. Let's see. Hugh Jackman was the man. It's Wolverine. Oh, if you're here for Hugh Jackman talk, we'll get ready for my Matt Walsh video tomorrow, because there's a surprising amount of Hugh Jackman talk. You'll see. You'll see. There was a running joke that I just wrote into the script, and it just kept coming up, so you'll see. Boy. Sorry, I missed a bunch of super chats. So let me just quick. Athelius Maximus, ain't got nothing to say, just showing some love. Well, heart to you, my thing. Thank you so much for the super chat. Lee Allen, you are very beautiful. Well, you are very beautiful, Lee. Thank you so much for your super chat. Mwah. And Michael Anderson Doyle, heart to you, my friend. You said much love to Queen Jessie. Just watched the Keffels video you did. Want to express my gratitude. Yeah, I'm thankful. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the Keffels video. I mean, go watch it. I don't really want. I talked about it enough, and I got very pissed off, and I don't necessarily want to get to that level again, because you can see it in the video. I can get angrier than that, but you can definitely see in the video that I got angry while I was talking, because I did that all off the. I had notes, but I didn't write anything down. I just sort of spoke, and it pissed me off. And I'll just say go refer to the video. But what happened to Keffels is absolutely fucking horrifying, absolutely terrifying. I spoke about in the video not necessarily the same, because what she had to experience is on a whole nother level, but my adjacent experiences and the experiences that many trans people feel, and being content creators, public-facing trans people, just an out trans person generally, and how scary it is. And it just pissed me off because it just touched upon stuff that my own fears about. So yeah. And again, I'll reiterate here, I have a plan for it, but I just want to let everyone know, so in case you're worried about me, because I do know there's some people that reached out privately and publicly. Tomorrow I have a video going up about Matt Walsh. I have a plan to do something with the video. One, I mean, he will probably, there's a good chance, there's definitely his trolls will find it. Like, the people that will sim for that man no matter what, and Daily Wire stuff no matter what. They'll find the video and they're going to be on it, and I expect that. There's a good chance Matt Walsh himself may watch it. And I doubt he'll have a come to God moment about it. One would hope, but it's definitely not going to happen. And there's a good chance he may react to it, or sick his followers on me, which will suck and be kind of terrifying to a degree. But I'm not worried about it in the sense that, like, bring it on. There's a thing I'm planning to do with the video that I know will be a little bit of a poke the bear moment. And you know what? Bring it on. I mean, maybe that's the wrong word to use. I don't want to, I don't want to ask for him to, come at me. I don't want that necessarily. But if he is going to do it, I'm prepared for it. And I'm not going to back down from transphobes being shitty. Because I'm tired of that, Right? How can we help? Just Costume Codex, the best thing to help, if and when that does happen, what I would just ask is please send me private. Public support would be amazing. I'm not going to ask anyone to do that, because that could be theoretically dangerous. And if you wish to do public support of me, that will help my mental health, and I certainly would be glad for it to see people do that. But I'm not going to ask that because I don't want like that can also put someone in a tangentially dangerous position as well. So I'm not going to ask for it. It's appreciated, but I'm going to ask for it. All I ask is if that stuff sort of happens, please just hit me with some kind words in private. Those things mean a lot. Especially to anyone going through this stuff. I know I've noticed it, like when a video gets hit by targeted trolls. I'm at the point where I'm happy enough in my life. I'm happy enough in my situation. I'm happy enough in my own identity as a trans person that no one's ever going to make me feel bad for being trans. But you see that stuff and you're just like, that's a bummer on the day, right? That sucks to see a whole bunch of these and read a whole bunch of these. So to get like just kind words, from people like in DMs and things like that does really, help boost someone's mood. So yeah, that's what I would generally just ask. That's the best way to help. And then, if you like the video, share the video around, share it around with people and help promote it. And things like that, as best you can. That also helps because the algorithm sucks. So if I'm going to get attacked for a video, I'd rather it be for a video that's doing well. if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, I hope the video is a good resource. And the goal of the video is not to go after Matt Walsh. In terms of like him, like getting him to come at me. The goal of the video is to debunk Matt Walsh and show how shitty the video is and how shitty he's acted and things that he's done. I've been shitty to trans people. But I'm not necessarily here looking for a fight. But I am not afraid of it. If it should come, because at this point, I'm at a point where it's just like, fuck 'em. I'm done, with how trans people have been treated forever, but especially in the past few years. I mean, trans people have always been treated like shit throughout history, but especially these past few years where we've been more and more vilified by, especially in the United States. I'm done, and fuck them, and I'm ready to fight them, and not going to back down from that, and I'm not going to be afraid of that. If there's a piece of content that I wish to make that I would have, the only thing that stopped me was because I would be afraid that some fascist asshole is going to try and attack me, then I'm not going to let that be a barrier. I'm not going to be stupid and not be willing to protect myself, but I'm not going to let that be a barrier to create the content that I want. So, all right. Sorry, I missed a few things here. If life is a leaf, Luna Oi, non-compete are a set of great channels, very trans-friendly. Yeah. Luna Oi, Luna Oi, I've had like some private interactions with, like not much, just they sent kind words after I was harassed for stuff. So I haven't watched a ton of their content, but I know that they're generally good people and they sent kind words to me. So like I said, I can't speak for all of their content necessarily, but from my interactions with them publicly and privately, they are good people. They seem to be very kind people. So that's all I can really say. I can't speak too much for their content because I don't watch it regularly. But yeah, I do know them generally to be nice people privately. So let's see. Lisa Garrison, hard to use, said, follow-up question about your Keffel's video, Mr. Earl. Mr. Earl. How do you respond to her claims that she has helped over 50 minors gain access to DIY HRT? I am of the mind that this is something that, I'll be honest, this question is something that, like, a lot of people, like Matt Walsh, will vilify a trans person for. In fact, I think recently he tried to do it to the person. There's the person, Eli Elric, who exposed the fact that he was trying to get trans people to appear in his documentary through surreptitious means by lying to them about what the documentary was going to be about. So that's who Eli is, and I talk about this in my video. And recently, I think it was just yesterday, maybe it was the day before, started vilifying Eli for talking about doing the same thing that Keffels is talking about, like DIY HRT. Now, to be careful in my response here, just because I know that is a thing that, trans people get vilified for. I believe that in an ideal world, trans people and trans kids would be able to have access to an affirming doctor, an affirming therapist, parents who are also affirming, and would be able to explore their identity in a safe as way as possible, both socially and medically. Whether that mean puberty blockers, whether that mean getting on HRT. And I think that is a specific journey for every single person, right? Some kids, quote unquote kids, some trans kids are able to make those decisions earlier in their life, are able to know earlier in their life, are very certain. Like for me, I was very certain early in my life, and I wish I had come out earlier and talked to my doctor earlier and had not been so scared at the time. It's something I still have a little bit of a regret about, but it's just the way my life went. And some people know very quickly, and they should have access to a therapist and a doctor to be able to pursue that as best they can, right? In an ideal world. Parents that will allow them to explore, doctors that can say that this is the right medical course, this is the safe course, be on puberty blockers, which are safe, by the way, for most people. I'm sure there are some medical conditions in people's health and everything that where puberty blockers aren't good for them. But for a large amount of people, puberty blockers are fine. And then enter HRT when they are of age to consent to that sort of thing and have had enough time to explore and be certain that they do want to be on HRT. I would have loved to be, well, I did know for certain, and I wanted to be on puberty blockers at 16. Certainly, I would have loved time to be on puberty blockers, or HRT. I would have loved time to be on puberty blockers just to be certain and think about it, for sure. And so I think we should allow kids enough time to make the decision, to be certain, to have access to those resources, to make sure that that is the case. That is the ideal world. Unfortunately, we do not live in an ideal world. Whether it be the fact that trans healthcare has been vilified and even outlawed across the country and across the world in numerous different places, whether it's also the limited access to trans-affirming care. I mean, the Tavistock Centre in the UK was shut down, so that leaving hundreds of, possibly thousands of trans people unable to access gender-affirming care. Or the fact that even if gender-affirming care is within your area, you may not be able to afford it due to the shittiness of our medical system with, like, exorbitant insurance rates or just inordinate costs of healthcare. And then on top of that, also having to deal with being in places that may or may not be affirming to you, like your parents not be affirming or helpful or wishing to allow you to explore. And by the way, and I know all of you know this, but when we say trans affirming parents, we're not saying like, yeah, the parents just like, yeah, start shoving them full of booby juice, start shoving them full of hormones, It's a parent who's willing to allow their kid to express their identity and explore their identity in the way that's safest for them. That's what we mean by a trans-affirming parent. Not a parent who's like, yeah, you're trans? All right, shove them up, bring in the hormones right now. The second you said you were trans. That's not what that means. I know you all know that, but a lot of people say that. So speaking on all of that, I do believe that there is a place for people to get access to hormones and trans-affirming care and drugs surreptitiously or through DIY means. Whether it be through getting it on the down low, whether it be through these groups that that I think Keffels herself has also said that she's helped funded, as the person who asked this question said earlier, to help fund getting people who need HRT, trans youth and adults, these things without a doctor or things like that. I don't believe that is ethically wrong. It is shitty that we have to resort to those means. And I wish that it was not the case. Because, yes, that will mean having to do it this way does mean that there might be mistakes made. There might be people who get access to it who shouldn't be on it, or it might be bad for their health, or, when I say bad for the health, like, they should have a doctor checking their hormone levels, or they may ultimately regret it because they don't have access to a therapist. Like, these things are going to happen, but that is not the fault of the people doing these things, trying to do their best to try and help the most amount of people in a shitty situation. It is the failure of the medical system and the people who are there to protect us and supposed to be fighting for us. So, do I think that the avenue that people like Keffels supporting these things and giving money to these things is ideal? Is it perfect? Does that mean that no one's going to get possibly hurt in these situations? No, but that is not Keffels' fault. It is Keffels doing the best that she can in that situation to help the most amount of people for a community that she is both a part of and cares deeply about. It's not ideal, though. So, yes. That is my thought on that situation. So, now I kind of want to clip that out because I'm like, wow, I actually explained that fairly well. So I might clip that out and make that its own video because I think I actually said what I wanted to say pretty well there. Anyways, I know I saw some super chats, but also the stream's gonna end soon, so I want to get to these super chats really quickly. What else did I miss? Alex Yamat, hard to you said, oh my ass to the struggles of trans people through your videos. Much love and hugs. Oh, much love and hugs to you, Alex. Mwah. Thank you, my friend. Let's see. Carefree Puggle, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. You said, Jesse, if you can, please consider leaving U.S. before a vote full on fascism arrives 2024. It's already here, but it will be overdrive for 2024. Yeah, I mean, it's not a, I'll be honest, it's something I'm looking into. Being honest, even disregarding the rise of fascism in the United States, even if I disregard that, I actually kind of would love to live in Vancouver. Just because there's a lot of filming opportunities there, and my dream is to get more into doing more fiction and filming production, to be like in a writer's, like my ideal would be in a my ideal job right now would be to work in a writer's room of some sort, whether it be as like a writer's assistant or as an actual writer. That would be my current next step dream job. Like, my ultimate dream job would be the executive producer of a Star Trek show, right? That would be my dream job. But my next dream job beyond YouTube would be that. And so Vancouver is actually just a good place for that, just generally. And it's not too far from where I live right now in Seattle. And I know I love the area. So honestly, I kind of just want to move there, but I don't know how to do that, if I'm being honest with all of you. But I would love, if people know how to do that, I would love to talk to you or give me resources, because there is also the element of I kind of don't want to live here anymore in the United States just for my own safety, and I know that there is an element to me that I want to. Here's the thing, there's an element of people that talk about you shouldn't move away because you should stay and fight and try to fight the good fight. And the two things that I would say to that, is one, I mean, I'm more privileged than most because I live in a fairly trans-affirming area. So even when full-on fascism might come to this country, I will be more safe than most. I am also white, too, which comes with its own level of privilege and protection. So I am certainly not the most vulnerable in this situation. But as a trans person, and yes, being able to move is definitely a privilege as well. Kay Walton, you are not wrong there. Most definitely. That's just why I get pissed off when people say Texas wants to succeed, fuck them, let them. I'm like, no, there are people that live in Texas who would be treated terribly and be stuck in that state that cannot leave, and would be stuck in that horrible situation if Texas did that. So that attitude is abjectly wrong, in a lot of different ways. Anyways, back to the point that I was making. That being said, though, as a trans person, I am very vulnerable, and it is usually people who are fairly safe to say, you should stay and fight. It's like, yes, your body wouldn't be the first body on the chopping block or on the front lines of that. And to be fair, neither would mine. Indigenous folks, trans women of color, black people just generally, black men, black women, would almost certainly be more vulnerable or as vulnerable as I am. More people of lower income than I am. But I would definitely be up there. Disabled people, yes, exactly, crazy Candy. Which, by the way, something I want to work to do better about, so please start poking me about it and calling me out on it a little bit, is I noticed that when I speak about diversity, I will say things like queer people, trans people, people of color, things like that. But I'll rarely often mention disabled people within that framework, which is something that I need to be a bit more consciously better about doing. So please poke me about that. So yes, 100% disabled people. And so, it's easy for people to say, stay here and fight. It's like, I just want to live my life, And then on top of that, too, I also know that, my skills are not necessarily required to be here. I am, first and foremost, a creator. I like to create things on YouTube, in other places. I like to make things that people feel, to educate people and make people feel emotions. And that does not necessitate my body physically being in the United States. While I will always care about the United States and want to fight fights here and for the communities here, it does not necessarily mean that I have to stay in the most vulnerable spot to be a creator. So Yeah. Long story short, hell yes, I would love to move to Canada, Vancouver specifically. If anyone knows how to help me do that, please contact me. And if anyone wants to hire me as a writer, also contact me if you're in Vancouver. I'm not above simping for that. If you're someone with a ability to hire me in a writer's room of any sort, please contact me. I would love to talk to you. But yeah, that's just sort of my thoughts on that. Yeah, see Belfast. Yeah, exactly, Dorian. Exactly, Dorian. And heart to you for that super chat. Also, JH, heart to you. Thank you so much for that. And also, there was one more. Savory Lemon. I'm going to end the stream fairly soon, but Savory Lemon said, "Shove 'em full of booze," just a phrase I didn't know I did in my life, Jesse. To be honest, actually, that phrase, speaking of, and I'll wrap this up because this will lead into the thing that I want to promote at the end before I wrap out the stream. The phrase, "shove 'em full of booby juice" is something I'm actually kind of stealing from Matt Walsh's documentary. This isn't in part 1. This is the video that'll be coming out tomorrow. But in part 2, I go through and I break down all the... Part 1 is just about how he frames the film and a lot of the tactics that he uses within the film to make disingenuous claims. So that's what the part 1 is about. Part 2, which will be coming out in September, is me going through just all the facts that he gets wrong in the video. And one of the things that he does within the film is there's a parent who he has call in like on this phone, is like hiding his voice, like, the transes are gonna come and get me, so I'm gonna have to hide my voice, but I'm a dad who my kid was a trans. It's the whole film is ridiculous, but that particularly was just wild. And like the way that the dad like describes what happens with his kid is he like, yeah, I was trying to stop my kid from getting trans by the doctors, and you know I put a stop to it because you know if it wasn't for me, I learned that day that my wife had taken my kid to the doctor and they were gonna shove her full of hormones right there. He misgenders the trans person there. He's like, they were gonna just pump her. He literally says pump her full of hormones. I'm like, what doctor are you talking about? Like, transphobes have this mental image that, like, trans people, it's just ridiculous. That, like, when trans people start HRT, they have this image that, like, they get taken into some dark room and, like, a doctor, like, shoves, like, these, like, tubes in them, like Bane in The Dark Knight or whatever, and Batman. And like the hormones go in, it's like through the tube, and you can like see it. It's like great, like a pink. It's like pink vial. It's like this pink juice just coming through the tubes, and it just enters into you. And as soon as it hits into you, like boobs just suddenly grow, and your hair gets longer, and you're suddenly a trans. Like that's their. It's true though, right? Like it's funny, but that's how they see it. Right? That's how they think about it. That, like, the people are just getting shoved full of... They're brought into the back room and shoved full of hormones like Bane, and they just, like, I'm a woman now! Instead of, like, the truth. Like, really, exactly, I'm saying I wish. Like, I wish, too. I wish that's how it worked. But, like, no, it's a long, boring process where you, like, the first day you go in and someone's like, here's a prescription. Get out. I got other people to deal with today. And you're like, thank you. This is very exciting. Then you go to the pharmacy and you hand them the note, and the person behind in the pharmacy is like, yeah, I'll get to. I don't know why they're like smoking in here. I don't know why they're like the slug lady from Monsters Inc. But that's what I'm going with. A terrible pharmacist. Yeah. We'll get that for you in a second. Go spend your time walking around the Walgreens or whatever. Enjoy the paper towels that we got on sale. I don't know why that's my pharmacist. This is a bit. I'm in a bit right now. I didn't expect to do a bit, but I'm doing a bit. And then finally you get the hormones. You're like, yeah, I got the hormones. Yay, look, they're all these little pills. And you like take 2 of them, and you're like, yeah, finally did it. I'm on hormones. That was exciting. And then you're done for the day. And you're like, all right, I'll take 2 more later on. And then you keep like measuring your boobs. It's like, are they bigger now? And then you have to wait like 5 months, like, oh yeah, they're a tiny bit bigger now. Yay. Also, I want to fuck less. I have my libido slightly smaller now because I'm a trans woman. Or you could be a trans man and it'll be like, I'm going to Hulk out. It's ridiculous. Anywho, now that I've done a bit, I am going to wrap out, sending love to you all. Do not forget, tomorrow, my video on Matt Walsh is going up. It is part 1. It is a video I'm very proud of. Also, shout out to my editor, Needless. I don't want to say his actual name because I don't know if he's cool with that or not. But I want to shout out my editor, Needless, who worked really, really hard on this video. I worked with him, and he came up with some really clever stuff. I wanted to work with an editor on this one because I did not want to be the one to edit this film because I would probably be hit my mental health to do this alone, and he made this experience such a joy. He's the same editor who does stuff for FD Signifier, and that's how I learned about him, because he did such a great job on FD stuff, and he is a fantastic editor. So I want to shout him out and see if I can promote him, but I want to make sure he's cool with that. So I'll just say it here on stream. Needless is great. The video I am very proud of. I am very proud of his work on it. Part 2 will be up in September, and I'm working on that this weekend. And I have other videos coming this month about the boys, so be on the lookout for that. But beyond all of that, thank you for being here. I love you. I adore you all. I wish you all the best. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you possibly this weekend. Yeah, just to say that, live stream this weekend. Hoping to, but I'm filming this weekend. Also for my own safety and mental health. If I do get attacked by trolls, I probably won't do a live stream, just to be in the real world and not terminally online for a little bit, just to protect my own mental state. So let's just say 50-50 chance of me doing a stream this weekend, but I'll almost certainly do a stream next week on this day. So I'll keep you updated about the weekend. Be on the lookout for it if I do one. But I'll see you either next week, and be on the lookout for the video Friday. Also, I'll promote this too. I have a bunch of podcast appearances coming up too, and I have, as some of you may have noticed, I've been doing a bunch of interviews. I did one with Jack Quaid, and Jack Quaid of The Boys and Star Trek Lower Decks fame, and then Hamish Steele, who of Dead Endia and Dead End Paranormal Park fame on Netflix. And I have more. I actually have been really enjoying doing interviews. I'm thinking of even starting a podcast, but I'm not going to announce that yet because I'm not sure if I'll have the time. But I am going to be doing more interviews on this channel. I have someone else lined up who is kind of special, and I'm very excited to talk to this person. So be on the lookout for more interviews. Those will be coming soon. So that's everything coming up. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves. I will see you all soon. Have a good night. I'm going to go have dinner. Mwah. Take care of yourselves, you beautiful people. All right. Where's the button? There's the button.